That's sort of what my life is like, all right. The only sane guy in a loony bin.
I know people like that. They can't get away from insane people. Like, I have a friend, and every neighbor he has is a piece of shit. And they use 4 leaf blowers at the same time. And I'm like, did you get, like, cursed by a gypsy or something? Or a voodoo? Because I don't have any problems with neighbors. But some people I know, they attract insane people. It's weird. Okay, let me do one last check, because I fucking hate it when people look outside. It feels like dim in here. Let me turn this light on.
Well, it is dim. I thought that's what you were striving for or something.
I like that a little better.
That's better.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty, fellas. Today is going to be a very special episode. Eric's recording. I am going to name this "We're Both on Phenibut" in this episode. And Eric, it's you're a first timer. I can already tell it's working on you. You might not know.
Can you indeed?
I feel like I can.
You feel it.
Yeah,
there's nothing you can put your finger on, but it's
you're more jovial.
I'm more jovial?
That's exactly how I was when I took it.
Well, this reminds me of when I took ecstasy once with my nephew, and he, I guess it was pretty good stuff, because he was just soaring on this stuff, and I didn't feel it. I honestly did not feel any different when I was on it. But he said the same thing to me. He says, "You were on it, pal. You were feeling it, because you were more of this and more of that, more talkative, more energetic." I certainly was not at all aware of any of that. But
well, that's a really strong one. I did that a couple times in my day, and like when that shit kicked in, I remember when I used to take that, I'd call people that I just didn't even really know, like, oh, let me just call into, oh man, then you cringed all day the next day. You always felt like crap after that stuff.
Well, yeah, that's the other question I had. What's it like coming down from it?
It's not bad. It's not bad.
It's not a crash.
You'll sleep good tonight. If anything...
5 hours from now?
Yeah, you have trouble sleeping, don't you?
Yes.
You'll sleep good. It's a weird sleep. For me, it was like this, like, I got, like, lulled into a sleep where I felt like I had my eyes closed, and I felt like I was dreaming, but I felt like I was awake at the same time. And 8 hours passed by. It was surreal experience. Best sleep I ever got. I think you'll be fine. I should have mentioned that, though. Like, the day after, you might be, like, a little, like, cranky. I don't think so, though. I don't think so.
Well, okay.
Okay.
Because I'm kind of cranky anyway, but...
Well, you know what's good? It sucks to take these kind of things alone, because... like, it enhances it to, like, do a podcast or something creative or talk to people.
Yeah.
So that'll definitely help.
Okay.
So if I haven't explained to the folks at home, Phenibut is a nootropic chemical that is legal in the U.S. and
though we don't expect it to remain so for long. Right?
No way, because I took that shit a week ago for pretty much the first time, and I was like, 2 hours passed, nothing. 3 hours, I was like, I was talking to somebody, and I was literally like going like this, like ants in the pants. Just wanted to move. It was such a surreal feeling. So we don't have anything planned other than that, but I have a bunch of just notes. I had an idea, Eric. So during the week, when you're on your computer, do you ever watch something and you go, oh, that's interesting? Like,
of course.
But like, interesting, like in the sense, like, you could bring it up on the podcast.
Oh, sure, yeah. Of course. I mean, of the stuff that I look at online, I for the benefit of our many friends across the nation, yes, I consult. There's about 5 or 6 websites that I consult nightly.
Well, the funny thing is, that's how most modern day people do podcasts, is I think they do that. They just make a Google Doc of interesting stuff they learned during the week, and then you and I have the more, Sam Harris style, like, topics, you know. But cause Eric, I emailed you. Did you get that email?
I certainly did.
Oh,
yes,
I was so depressed.
Boy, you were
that.
pouring your little heart out there.
Yeah.
I didn't know if we were going to be able to do this tonight.
Oh no! Well, I kept saying in the email. I wrote 3 times. I wrote.
Did you see my response? I did respond to you just before I left the house.
No, not yet. But like, I got depressed because we did a woke episode, and you and I both said stuff that. Well, you were more tame than me, but I said some.
Well, that's one of the episodes where we agreed. We approached our subject from the same worldview about that. Yeah, we were from what it could be that we misunderstand wokeness, but we were both very hostile to wokeness.
Yeah.
And well, that's one of the things I mentioned in my response to your
Well,
letter. I said,
you word things a little better, and for me, I say things passionately and I rush them, and I need to start thinking more when I say stuff. But
yeah.
I thought we could do a couple episodes that wander away from politics, maybe 1 or 2 episodes.
Sure, I'd be up for that.
So,
how about sports? You want to talk about sports?
God. I saw a sports video today. It was had to do with the jab. And
about Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, it was that
football player.
What was going on with that?
Well, he's a MVP.
Uh-huh.
I'd never heard of this guy before this flap, but he's very highly regarded in the world of football. He's a quarterback. He seems to really know what he's doing. I think he even has a reputation for being smart, but he's an anti-vaxxer. He doesn't want to get the jab.
Oh.
But he came forward, and there's some kind of a requirement that you get the jab, that you get vaccinated or present a negative, test certificate periodic once a week or something, one of those deals.
Mm-hmm.
And he somehow, the story that he presented them with was that he was inoculated or immunized or something. He used a word like that. He didn't say vaccinated, but it was something that was, I guess, deliberately meant to sound or imply like he had been vaccinated.
Oh, okay.
But then somehow it came to light that he had not been vaccinated at all, and he was taking homeopathic shit, and he thought that would immunize him.
Oh, yeah?
Are you familiar with homeopathy?
Yes. Okay. I've heard that homeopathy is you take like a chemical and you literally keep diluting it until it's gone.
Right, virtually almost gone.
How does that even work?
I think it works something. I tried homeopathy, like 20 or 30 years ago. I knew a Ukrainian doctor, and he was actually an employee of mine, and I was complaining about my knees or something, so he gave me some samples, and he gave me some literature, and it sounded real flaky to me, and I think it is, but the idea is it was invented by a German physician in the 18th century, and he had it's a lot like a vaccination in that you take something that contains a substance. I don't know the details of how this works, but if you take a substance that makes you feel the symptoms of a disease, of a specific disease, like say malaria, but it's not malaria itself, then this substance will nevertheless provoke an immunological response.
Oh.
Your antibodies will proliferate in response to this substance, whatever it is. It's just a lot like a vaccine.
It sounds like a normal vaccine.
Well, except you swallow it, you don't inject it, and it's highly, highly dilute. It's just about 99.99% water or something.
I'll tell you what, I have heard of that. Years ago, I would have made fun of something like that, but ever since this whole pandemic started, I've been hearing a lot of doctors and scientists say we've been getting away from natural medicine, and replacing it. Like, my mom's on like 7 medications. That means she has like 7 different side effects.
Well, that isn't good.
Well, yeah.
But
like, why is it pills has to cure people all the time? You know?
well, I don't know, but I don't know very much about pharmacology or how pills work. But normally if you need something, if you have an infection or something, and you take antibiotics for it, and they've developed these antibiotics. And if you think about it, an antibiotic is just a kind of toxin, but it's somehow engineered to be toxic to whatever is infecting you in some way. I don't know how they manage that without damaging you significantly. And it works. People with infections take this stuff, and the infection goes away. It doesn't, doesn't work great. There are side effects, and it may take a while. And maybe it would have happened anyway. Who the hell knows? Maybe it's just a placebo.
Yes.
You never know when you're taking a placebo instead of real medicine. Maybe there's no such thing as real medicine. Maybe it's all placebos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to an herb doctor, and she cured her psoriasis with herbs, and I was like, man, maybe I should.
Well, I don't doubt that there's something to that. I mean, like, there is such a thing as natural medicines, but there are also such things as snake oil salesmen.
Yeah.
They concoct a lot of this shit in their kitchen, and if they have a gift for promotion, they can make people buy it. And
yeah.
I do once again that you can find yourself caught in the crossfire between many experts of all kinds, and when I find that there is one faction of people or self-proclaimed experts, and they come into conflict with doctors and immunologists and people like that, I always go with the doctors.
Yes, that's the best thing to do.
Well, if that's the case, why don't you what do you got against vaccinations?
Ah, you said it, Eric. You said the
trigger
the word. No, it's okay. Eric, I was gonna say, did you know that the CV jab isn't even like the same format of jab than the polio one was, or the typical flu
the same
ones?
Format.
Yeah, like.
What does that mean?
What the jabs used to be was they would inject the sickness into you, and your body would fight it.
Yeah.
Whatever you and my uncle got, it's not that. It has nothing to do with that. Like, scientifically, how it works, it does something with your DNA. I don't know. I'm not a scientist.
Well, then how can you be so sure that you know what you're talking about?
Well, we haven't talked about this on the show. I think we talked about it off air. You've seen my uncle?
Barry?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for his skin condition?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
That happened immediately after he got it.
After he got the jab?
Yeah.
But he did say.
Dude,
he didn't say anything about that to me. He said he got it. He got it from the smoke from his forge.
He's in denial.
Why would he be in denial? I don't know Barry at all. I don't know. He's a weird guy, but
there's been times where he's come up and he said, "You don't think it was from the jab, do you?" And me and my dad go, "No, it's from the metal, because he makes knives."
You persuaded him that it came from the metal.
Yeah, dude. I don't want to tell somebody that, like, I don't want to make them feel regret,
Well,
I from what I've seen, Eric, people like you and a lot of people I know seem to be fine for now. But man, the stuff that I've seen, oh God, it's horrendous.
You have seen so much. You mean people who've taken the vaccine, the COVID vaccine? Who do you know who's taken it?
Well, my uncle is the only one I know that's
Really?
got like an immediate reaction, but
Well, how is he now?
Oh, he's permanently there. I don't think that's ever going to go away.
Is his skin still purple?
It's
livid purple.
It's 95%. Like, for me, I got like mild psoriasis on my hands and elbows, and psoriasis, when you get it comes on slow. His was just like his whole body.
Wait a minute, was it psoriasis?
It's not psoriasis, dude. Psoriasis does not happen that fast. Psoriasis and eczema do not just cover your body in 2 days.
So we don't know what it was, or what it is. Did he go see a doctor?
See, I keep getting into arguments with people because I tell them, I tell them that somebody got the jab and then immediately after they got really sick or their skin puffed up, and they all go, well, how do you know it was from the jab? And it's like, well, I don't. But at the same time, it's like, come on, man. Happened like 2 days later. And I don't want to worry you, Eric, because you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I know. Sure. I mean, you're saying, again, I'm still not clear on how many people you've seen undergo this reaction, this alleged reaction. When I pressed you on it, you said Barry. That's the only person you know.
Barry and about 3,000 TikTok videos.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, yes, I thought that might have something to do with how you form your opinions about this.
I wrote to somebody. I wrote on a comment. I said, yeah, I've probably seen 5,000 injuries from the jab on TikTok, and they said, stop getting your information from TikTok. And I'm like, it's a video though. These are real people who are saying they got it, and then a day later they're coughing up blood, and then they just listen to these ambiguous experts that don't have a name or face.
I don't know what the hell you mean by that. Their names and faces of doctors and other experts are on the news all the time. I see them interviewed a lot.
If you type in vaccine rash on YouTube,
Oh,
all the top results will be, like the thumbnail, it'll be like a little pink spot. But then when you go on BitChute and type it in, I saw a video the other day, there was an attractive girl, and she had boils all over her body. Way worse than my own.
From the jab?
It was right after it.
Well, I don't, you're telling me that you get information from YouTube videos and bitch slap and TikTok. I'm not even sure what TikTok is. I gather it's
like YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. Okay, it's an information source or possibly a misinformation source. These videos, I don't trust.
But they're real people, and they're
well. How do you know they're real? I mean,
because you can tell, Eric.
They appear on the video. They're obviously real people.
They're in crappy, dirty apartments, and no actor is as good as they are. You know what I mean?
No, I don't.
You can tell when somebody's acting, but when somebody's
crying,
I'm
not convinced you can.
They should win an award, Oscar.
God, well, all right. What about all those doctors? Are they actors? All the doctors that I see on the news are telling us that this is doing the job. It's holding the variant at bay.
But it's not doing the job.
Well, what do you base that on?
77% of the people that are getting it and also dying are vaccinated. You can get that off the CDC's website.
Off what?
I think right now it's
CDC.
Yeah, 77 around percent of all the infections right now, and hospitalizations are people that were jabbed. This is like the inconvenient truth, Eric. It just is what it is. Like, I'm not going to some crackpot Alex Jones site. You gotta understand.
Well, how do you know you're not?
I'm so deep into this.
Yes, that I can see.
It is what it is. And here's the thing is, you don't go to these websites that... Okay, just start over right from the top. So, you've been taking gabapentin.
I've been taking gabapentin for, 12 years, ever since my double knee replacements. That I take it in conjunction with oxycodone for pain, and it works. And gabapentin, both of them have unfortunate side effects.
What's the side effect of the gabapentin?
I don't know. I'm not conscious of a side effect of either one of those things really, except constipation from the oxycodone.
Yeah.
But the gabapentin, my buddy Mike in California took gabapentin because he had a pretty bad case of sciatica, and he said he was better off with the pain. He said it made him feel like he had chiggers or something over his body.
Really?
It was very uncomfortable. He had sweats, something. I can't remember what at all. It was very uncomfortable. But, they warn you about that. They say it works for me. I've tried gabapentin by itself and the oxycodone by itself, and they both work, but not nearly as well. You put them together and you got something. And I'm just, maybe I'm unusually fortunate in that I don't suffer a lot of side effects.
Yes.
But the stuff works, and it was created by doctors. Things like marijuana became so fashionable. It was not, it was considered quite a menace in the 30s and 40s. You familiar with the propaganda film Reefer Madness?
Madness.
Yeah, everybody knows about Reefer Madness.
I got a little trivia. Do you know why there's a J in marijuana instead of an H?
No.
'Cause they wanted it to sound more Mexican.
More Mexican.
Exactly.
Marijuana is not a Spanish word originally?
Well, if you look at those old Reefer Madness films, it's like marijuana. There's an H in it. But I think...
Well, in Mexican, J's are pronounced like H's in some words.
But I think it started with an H, and I think the narrative that they went with...
What did I say? In Mexican?
In
Is that what I said?
Yeah.
Sorry, I meant Spanish.
Spanish.
Or maybe Mexican Spanish. Mexican Spanish is not identical to Spanish, but
next you're going to be saying build the wall, Eric.
Yeah.
Close cultural the appropriation. I don't even know what that means actually. But
you should. We discussed it.
We just did, didn't we?
Yeah.
Damn it. Well, I think the narrative was that Mexicans were raping white women, so they kept putting that out in the paper. That wasn't happening. Well, maybe. I don't know if it was happening, but I think it was propaganda.
No. They were. I'm sure a lot of the people who come through the border wind up committing criminal acts of various kinds. But probably no more so than any other demographic.
Wouldn't Mexicans back then, though, wouldn't they be more crime today?
Yes, that was the other side of the story, was that that was a reason why we were urged by people with a more liberal outlook on this to be more tolerant of people coming across the border, because they're less likely to commit criminal acts, because if they're here illegally, they don't want to draw attention to themselves. Now that makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea how true it is.
But not only that, isn't it the cartels and stuff that makes Mexico like a dangerous country?
Well, it makes a good part of Latin, Central, and South America very dangerous places to live, and especially in the cities.
But if you watch like Boardwalk Empire, they kind of like heroin wasn't a big thing until after World War One. So it's not like there was like heroin and cocaine and all these bad drugs coming in from other countries.
Well, I think that stuff has always been coming in, and there have always been people who trafficked in drugs. It's always been illegal. People have always died or gone crazy on it. It's most of that stuff is stuff that should be illegal.
What stuff?
Heroin,
cocaine?
Heroin and cocaine.
I disagree.
Well, I had a feeling you probably would.
Did you know that heroin isn't like inherently
you don't think
bad for you?
You think heroin is okay?
It's not that bad for you. Like, if you get the pure form, like, heroin itself isn't that bad.
Well, it's not so much that. Okay, I'm not an expert in any of this. The problem with the kind of stuff we're talking about isn't the direct effect of the drug itself as it enters your body. It is that when you're on this stuff, you feel so good, you're so high that you completely neglect yourself in every other way. You don't eat, you don't sleep.
Yeah.
And you become addicted to it. And these people who manufacture and market this stuff know that you'll always come back begging for more.
Yes.
That's the problem with it. And that's
That's
why
true.
that's also why people's health, people just waste away on this stuff because they feel so good just from the high that they feel no need to eat or take care of themselves.
Yeah, that's true. Well, cocaine, heroin, not that bad, but yeah, fentanyl, you'll die from it. Yeah, it'll probably kill you with an overdose before it kills you.
Well, just about anything will
organs.
kill you with
But-
an overdose.
You know what drug I always thought was one of the worst? Like ecstasy. The few times I took that, it wrecked me.
Yeah.
You could feel it for days. That body just in your fucking your mind. Yeah, there's a lot of in alcohol. I think alcohol is pretty
Well,
bad.
alcohol is downright poisonous. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why yeah, I don't know. I don't know which drugs are all that bad. What? Okay, here's a good question.
Opium.
What drugs did you have back in your day, Eric? That they don't get anymore. Any bennies?
I don't know about, I didn't mess around with that stuff enough to. I can't comment
What about
on things like that.
Ludes, Quaaludes.
Well, I've certainly heard a lot of these terms, but the only one I tried throughout the entire period of the '60s was marijuana. I never tried anything else.
That's
alcohol.
amazing. Yeah.
Well, it's amazing. I don't know why is it amazing? It's just because it was there. I guess I was neglecting something, I was denying myself an experience by not doing more drugs. I suppose
It's
you
good,
could you
though.
could talk. Well, it's good up to a point. I just nobody ever. I don't know. No, I didn't know anybody who spoke authoritatively and favorably about other drugs.
Yeah.
All I knew was marijuana, and everybody, the people I did know, that's all they did, as far as I knew.
Yeah, I could just picture the terminology from your day, like, hey kid, you want to get some kicks? Dig it? Dig it? Did
Yeah.
they used to say dig it?
Yeah.
I
yeah,
love that term, man.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, Eric, I sent you, did you watch, I sent you, what was that show? Dick Cavett had Hugh Hefner on, and a feminist.
Yeah.
I found a YouTube clip where Hugh Hefner debated a feminist.
Right.
And it reminded me of your generation.
Was the Gloria Steinem?
It probably was.
She was an ex-Playboy bunny.
Was she?
Yeah, and then I think she became a Playboy bunny to gather material. I'm not sure of that, but she used her experience as a Playboy bunny to start writing these feminist tomes
Oh, cool.
about
So was she
how
like
about the hard and softcore porn business exploits women and degrades them and so forth.
Well, the reason I sent it to you, it reminded me of, I think it was like around your generation, and it was so good, man. Like they listened to each other, they debated, they respected each other.
Yeah.
I think this feminist thought that Hugh Hefner was gonna like lay into her, and he was like, "Well, matter of fact, I actually agree with you a good bit." And I was like, those were the times, and we don't have that anymore. It's gone.
Yeah.
God.
Seems to be.
I just watched just 10 minutes ago the video that got me into politics. It was a Tucker Carlson clip. It's got 7 million views. It came out June 1st, 2020. And it was like the scariest news segment I've ever seen. And I realized that day, I was like, oh, maybe I should start paying attention. Because the world was going insane last year. And actually, Eric, the first thing I wanted to talk about was, have you noticed that the mainstream media has kind of like tethered out, stabilized? It's not as crazy anymore.
It's stabilized in terms of craziness.
Yeah, it's like normal. Or we just got used to it.
You mean, do we dare say it has become more like what it should be? Just a calm, presentation of the news?
Yeah, like they're talking about the
I haven't
abortion
noticed
stuff
that.
in Texas.
About the what?
The abortion stuff in Texas. I remember last year, 2020, I remember waking up and I'd be so excited to watch the news, see what was happening, and I got that feeling when I watched that Tucker Carlson clip, and I was like, maybe this is like calm before the storm. That's a QAnon term, but I don't mean it that way. Oh yeah, I have a bunch of weird notes here. I could just.
Well, tell me a little bit. Okay, is this like a free stream of consciousness things? Are we on?
It's whatever we want.
Yeah, okay. Homo sapiens is thought to, nobody knows for sure, of course, but it's thought to have first evolved in Africa about 200,000 years ago. But we were tribal then, we're tribal now. Animals have been around a lot longer than we have. They're tribal. Maybe tribalism is just an inevitable part of life.
You know what I think, Eric? I don't believe anything anymore.
Well, that's always a safe route to take, I guess. Just say I don't believe in any of that.
That used to sound like, oh yeah, I could see that, but like now I don't trust anything in the world, and it's like that.
What made you think of that specifically? With evolution?
Of what? Me not trusting anybody?
Well, you're not believing. You say I don't believe in anything anymore.
Well, because it's like that Orwell quote: "Those who control the past control the present, future." So it's like right now we're in this big propaganda war, and it's like, oh wait, maybe I should question shit that's way farther back.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. But it's interesting.
Well, none of us are really in control of that process. So all you can do is, try to become as knowledgeable as you possibly can about as many subjects as you possibly can, and think about them intelligently. I like to think that's what I've done, or at arriving at my current convictions. But who knows? It's so easy to take people in.
Well, you know what I think? One thing that makes us similar is we've said this before. You do have an analytical mind.
I like to think so.
My mind is like it casts a wide net.
Yes, it does.
It's big picture, but that means I miss a lot of details and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think you have that in a way because I don't know. It's weird. But I've noticed. It seems like people that are more left wing, they'll get bogged down in all these like street turns of ideas. It's chaos. It's just very precise detail, very complex, casts a web. But then people like me, I tend to cast a wide net, and I probably lump everything together as a conspiracy. But I think I notice patterns that your average Joe doesn't. Would you say that?
Average Joe does what?
I notice patterns that maybe your typical hairy homeowner down the street doesn't.
Well, that's a very broad expression or observation. You'd have to give me a concrete example of what you're referring to there. I don't.
Sometimes when we argue about conspiracies, Eric, sometimes I'm in disbelief that we're in 2021 now, and like there's so many like things that could be connected, and like, oh, maybe this isn't right, I saw a YouTube comment the other night. Somebody said, deep down we all know something's wrong in the world. Something's wrong. And for me it's like, I think I've got it all figured out, and I can't shop into the perfect detail, but like I can generalize these wide cast nets. I know, I just repeated myself. I don't know if that makes sense. But, anyway.
Not really, but
sometimes I can't believe that you're not even a little suspicious, Eric, about a post-2020 world. Can't you at least admit something's wrong?
Can I at least admit something is wrong?
Something's not right in the world. Something's not right.
You don't think that I think that there's something wrong in the world?
No, I do think you do think that. So you think something's wrong?
Yeah, that would be one way of putting it.
But like you're not suspicious of any grander conspiracy.
Well, I'm suspicious of conspiracy theories that that seem to be the products of people who are prone to conspiracy theories. That's a kind of conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theorism is a tribe of its own.
Yes.
And there are different conspiracy tribes that don't all agree on the same details about the same conspiracies. But conspiracy theorism is something that really does put me off. I know you love it. You love it. You hardly ever met a conspiracy theory you didn't like, and I think that's weird, and I think that can be unnecessarily toxic.
Yeah.
If you fall too deeply and you suspect everybody and everything.
It's not a fun way to live.
No, I wouldn't think it would be. Well, but it is a fun way to live.
Well, it kind of is. You're right.
It is. It's definitely fun. I mean, you have a lot of fun with your conspiracy theories.
But, Eric, come on. It's not even a theory anymore. It's happening right now.
Well,
every
it's
country
happening.
in lockstep.
What's happening? Huh?
Every country in lockstep is like, oh, government we take charge now. We make the rules. Every government, New Zealand, Australia, Ireland, Canada, the U.S. It's like, this is some crazy times.
Well, yeah.
Oh, and I don't know. We didn't talk about the Lost World of Communism documentary, did we?
What?
No, when's the last time we did a podcast? Was it a while ago?
It was a couple of weeks ago, I guess.
Okay, so I watched a documentary called The Lost World of
I
Communism.
think I've seen that.
You probably have, Eric. I think it came out in like the 80s or something. It was like a 3-parter. It was fascinating. They didn't teach us about that in school, by the way.
Who was the narrator? Was it Charlton Heston or
it could have been
like that?
It could have been. I think it might have been. They did Czechoslovakia. I just butchered that. Russia and Romania.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't too into detail. It just kind of showed the life of communism in these countries. Well, the interesting part was, in order to implement those communist countries, they were pointing the finger at imperialism, Western imperialism.
That was one of their favorite buzz phrases. Yeah.
Well, they're saying that right now, Eric.
Who is?
The TikTok.
The
people.
what? The TikTok people.
Yes. They're going
Okay,
after the youth. I didn't realize it because I've seen these TikTok compilations and they blame everything on Western colonialism, which I don't even know what that is, to be honest. I don't even know what imperialism is. But do I need to know what it means? I don't even need to know.
You sure as fuck do need to know.
It's commie BS.
If you're gonna complain about it like this.
I get the gist of it. Like, I can...
Yeah? What's the gist? Can you...
It's a purple
Can you
hair
tell me in
TikTok.
10 words or less?
Yeah, it's rule 1 in the commie playbook, Eric. Either way, I can sniff communism out, and I don't even know that much about it. I just know it's bad.
No, we've established that.
Well, here's the thing: did Russia go well? Did Czechoslovakia go well?
No, they went like shit.
And now
these
teenagers are saying imperialism.
Well, okay,
they're saying the same terminology, Eric.
All right, I'm in contact with 0 teenagers, so I don't know what they're talking about.
But
occasionally, I'll see something on TV about teenagers.
You're not seeing nothing, Eric. I've emailed you 10 times. I said you got to watch the show. You Can't Stop Progress. Remember I told you about that?
Oh, you've told me about so many of these things.
This guy makes a compilation of like the far left TikTok and YouTube, and I'm like, whoa, why are all these high school kids talking about fucking imperialism and capitalism? Like, I'm not gonna believe that they're finding it on the internet. No. They're not doing their own research. It's the schools that are doing it. So I think we got to accept that we are going through a cultural communist revolution right now. I mean, it's clear to me.
Well, if that's what's going on, for the record, I heartily disapprove of it. But I I need a little more to go on than that.
I thought the terminology would convince you, Eric.
The terminology alone.
Imperialism. When is the last time you heard that word? They probably haven't said that since
I hear
the
it from
30s.
you all the time.
I say colonial.
I don't hear it on the street.
I know, but no, who's on the street anymore? We live in a virtual world now, Eric.
Well, yeah, we're in kind of a bubble here, but
Yeah. Okay. So that was
yeah. What was that?
I don't know.
What are we gonna call this one?
We jumped from
We'll
Phenibut.
call it episode 9 or something.
Yes, we're on episode 10, 11ish, but
Episode 9 from outer space.
yes, I'll call it something with Phenibut in it.
Yeah, Phenibut Madness.
Phenibut Madness, because people will click on that.
Yeah. I think
Anyways,
they will.
Eric, okay, real quick before you go, when you first came down here, I asked you if it was kicking in, and you said you couldn't tell. Can you tell now?
No, can you? Oh, it's so obvious.
It might not be as obvious as I said it was. I don't know. I thought that you would be buzzing or something. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I guess it's possible that it has taken some kind of effect, but if it hadn't been a subject, if you had just slipped these things to me without my knowledge, and I had swallowed them without knowing what I was doing, I don't think I would be aware of any difference.
True. Okay. That's
sorry.
fine.
I appreciate you sharing the experience with me.
Oh, of course.
Thank you.
I appreciate you taking them, Eric. You're a cool cat.
Well, I'm always game for a new experience.
You're not a narc.
No, I'm not a narc.
I knew when I offered them to you, I'd be like, I bet you Eric's hip enough to take them, and you did. That was very cool. All right, fellas. See you.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in. If you did, you bastard, and if you didn't, try it. You might like it.
I think they do.
All right. See you next time.